Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. Well, as far as most annuals go, I mean, the old rule of thumb that I always followed was Mother's Day, which is next weekend. Right. So, I mean, we're getting awfully close.
Yep. Mother's Day, and some people even hold off to Memorial Day. Now, by and large, on the averages, mathematical averages, that's waiting a little longer than you have to. But I still tell people that I'm not comfortable until the 15th. So, yeah, whatever. Mother's Day, 15th, it's pretty much all the same. But do listen to the news. And then one of the things that has been happening in several of the garden centers, one in particular that I'm there during the weekends, they had some plants that were frozen. Vegetables in particular, potatoes were standing 5 and 6 inches tall, looking great in the evening, looking like death warmed over by noon the next day. They got what I'll call burned badly. But it's a matter of they looked ugly for about a week. The old foliage that had been burned or frozen browned off. They were kind of swept with a hand to knock that foliage off. They have re-leafed, and they're going on just as strong as they could be. So even if you have a near disaster in your garden, don't necessarily allow that you have to go out and start over again. Do double check. It's a little hard to tell in the first 24 to 48 hours. But, for example, those potatoes in the length of time, and I don't remember how far back, it's probably been 2 weeks ago, they're looking great and growing on strong right now. So those are all things that you can do to ease your situation. But do remember, it's not just the freeze factor. It's the temperature of the soil. And until the soil gets up to around 55, which is hard to judge, a cooking thermometer has been used at my home. Let's just say letting people know for sure I'm nuts. But at the same time, when the temperature gets up around 55 in the soil, it's then warm enough for most things to be able to benefit from the total growth process.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com